we may be destroying that Pinto. We're gonna be cutting the frame out of it, that's for sure. The correct way to back half a car, man, it stinks in here. You pucker in and pucker out, 34 inches. So if we were to go 32 degrees, notch down into the seat bracket. Ass came off a NASCAR. Cut this out. All right, we got it up down in there. That's exactly where I wanted it. A lot of this is coming out because this is where the wheel tub is gonna be. All right, I got the other side in. The center is flexing. It's kind of foggy in here. So this video is how to put a subframe in a Pinto, I suppose. Hey, welcome back to Fixing Things. Today, we may be destroying that Pinto, but I don't think so. We're gonna be cutting the frame out of it, that's for sure. And we're gonna be replacing it with this long piece of frame rail right here. So people may be saying, man, why are you gonna ruin such a good classic car? This car is got a lot of rust in it. It's got a lot of work. And to tell you the truth, the resale value of some of these old cars is only about $5,000, no matter what you do to them. And a modified car, like a Pro Street car or something like that, is worth a lot more than the factory car. This is a fun car to drive, but the thing is, what I want to do with this car is we're going to make this a rally type car, a autocross rally type car, but also so it will drag race. So to do that, we have to build a frame in the car. So some people call it tubbing the car out. Some people call it back halving. Some people call it, there's all kinds of different names for it. So, you know, tubbing the car out, back halving, tube chassis. And I can tell you this, I've been doing this stuff since 1980. And that's a long time ago. And I first seen I had a 65 Mustang, my first car I ever owned, and I seen this car in Popular Hot Rod magazine. I'm gonna see if I can't find a picture of it and put it right here. And this car hit my heart in such a way that I said, man, I gotta have one of those cars. I took the only car that I was driving, and I was still in high school, and I made a chassis, made a frame for it. I've never seen any instructions on it or anything. There's all kinds of instructions on how to do it now. And I could tell you right now, a lot of these guys that have been doing this stuff for years, and they've been doing it wrong. I can tell you they've been doing it wrong. And they're actually adding more weight to the car than taking weight out. Just by cutting a piece of sheet metal doesn't mean when you're putting a piece of 1/4 inch tube frame in the car, you're adding a lot of weight to the chassis. And in racing, the more weight you weigh, the slower you are. The more, if you're going around a corner and you got a lot of weight on the car, that car is going to want to keep going straight. If you're a drag racer, it's going to slow you down from getting at the top end. And so car designers, when they built the cars to be as light as possible. And so you say, oh yeah, but they're just made of cheap stuff and they're just spot welded together. Yeah, that may so well be, because they're only made to drive down the road. But they got a lot of really good, smart engineers. Okay. The thing is, most of the guys, they cut the chassis out and they just leave a skin. So you're no longer driving the car anymore. You're just driving a skin of a car, and you're making a whole new chassis. And the chassis that they put in is very strong, right? So by the time they put their tube chassis in the car, they have to put a roll cage on it to stiffen it up. Well, the car was already stiff before they started. You know what I'm saying? Cutting all the material out the car is not the correct way to do it. The correct way to do it is to fit the new chassis into the old frame, into the old sheet metal of the car. So you notch frame it. Back in the day, when they were the street rodding had just started, and one of the things that people did to get the car forward was to take the frame of the car and recess it up into the body. That way it didn't change the ride of the vehicle, but it just lowered the vehicle over top of the chassis. Notching and you know, they do C-notching and stuff like that now. But this is raising the frame into the chassis. So this actually is the correct way to back half a car that is a unibody car. And this is a unibody car. Now, if you have a car that is got a frame and a body, the two that are separate, I would do it differently. But I can tell you, welding a section onto the back of a car, right? Just welding it onto the back of the car, that's going to be the flex point, right? When everything inside the car was designed to be a part of the chassis. Now, I can't really see it. I still got a bunch of trash in here I got to take out before I really get rolling in this video. But today we're going to get the new frame in this car. Let me show you some stuff. All right, here's the inside of my man, it stinks in here. A lot of condensation in here. Probably because there ain't no window in it, but all this stuff you see here is actually part of the frame of the car. The wheel tubs that are back over there, everything is all welded together. The floor, everything. The curves that are in the floor, everything, and we'll get into it. All right, so the idea is we're going to make two frame rails. We're going to come over top of this original floor. All this stuff is structural. See this right here? This is part of the rear, even all this framing and these bends, all this curved stuff, all this is what keeps the car rigid. And the more curves you have in your metal, the better. That's why they, you know, you don't put flat sheet metal on top of cars, because they pucker in and pucker out. You curve the metal, you put ridges in it and roll them and everything else. And the more curves and stuff you have in it, the more rigid the car is. All this stuff is part of the framing of the car. Even this rear seat mount right here is actually part of the original, except for that stuff. All this stuff is part of the original frame. So the idea is we're going to come across with a set, come down, go behind this piece. I'll have to check. May have to come in front of it. I'm just hoping to come underneath it. That way, because this is a cavity. That way I could attach the rear seat back to it if I need to, right? So we'll come across, go down through the floor, come out through here on top of the floor, or half in and half out, and then connect it up front here to the original frame rails. And not just talking about, because I can tell you, people who just add frame rail connectors, you guys are wasting your time. Because I see them, they put a bolt in it here and they put a bolt in it there, and they think they're doing something. You're not doing nothing. You're not adding no strength to your car. That's why they have to put full tube chassis in the cars, is because they don't know what the hell they're doing. Right? See what I'm saying? They have to put roll cages in it because everything they did was just make the car weaker. The whole idea of putting the frame and all this stuff in and putting all this extra horsepower in it is to make the car stronger. So we want to make the car strong. The car is already strong by itself. I could just put the V8 in it and run the car down the road and the car would be fine. Right? But that's not cool on these little, 13-inch tires. We need to put some big meaty tires underneath it. Big meaty tire. Big meaty tire. Meaty. Big meaty. You know what I mean? Hey, so that's what we're going to do. The back part right there where the hooks together is also a structural part. There's 2 or 3 pieces of metal there hooked together. So we're going to cut it and attach it. Everything that's going to be on this side of the frame rail, we're going to cut out to a certain point. I'll show you. So this is the inner wheel tub, or wheel housing, and it's got quite a few different names. But you notice there's this other piece of metal that's tapped there, right? That hooks to the frame, the torque box of the car. The wheel tub is part of the structural integrity of the car. If you note here, it's all welded up inside here. So the idea is right here at this ridge, all the way around, we're going to take this out. Wherever this frame rail comes through, we're going to cut it and take that out. And then we'll add more new stuff in there. This way, all the structural part is still there in the car. The car is still going to be rigid, and it's going to be hooked to it like the factory. When you look at the car, you're going to say, is that factory? We might even reuse the backside of the wheel tubs if it's possible. If not, like I said, I've been doing this stuff since 1980. I started it in my when I was in auto body class on my 65 Mustang, and I tugged it out. And I seen that popular hot rod magazine. It was ProStreet. I think it was a Chevy 2 or a Nova. I can't remember. It was blue. And it was on the cover of popular hot rod magazine, and it had a whole spread out on it. And it was a street legal pro stock car. And I said, man, that's what I got to do. So over the years, I've built quite a few of them. I've built 2 F100 pickup trucks like that. I did, let me see, I've done a Vega, and I did a Monza, and I did my Mustang. And now we're going to do a Pinto. But I'm doing this one different. Those cars were strictly drag race. This has also got to have side support. And a lot of the drag race suspensions, they are great for going straight. They ain't great for going around corners. We want to make this thing handle around, whip through a corner like it ain't nothing. We got a little bit of weight reduction down in here. But most of the floor pans are pretty good, except for the driver's side front. It's got a piece of fiberglass, and right there where the torque box is up front, that part is solid. But up here in the front, over here, so we're gonna have to replace the sheet metal that's in there. But the frame rail is gonna go through that area and weld right into that spot. So you shouldn't be able to see it from inside the car, except where it comes through the back floor. No biggie there. Man, look at my hair. Already, I had to lay underneath this car to get those seats out. So it's time to take some measurements, and we'll go ahead and see if we can't build this this frame, because I want to try to get this frame in the car today. So the factory framing on a unibody car is just sheet metal. So this piece here is far superior, and we're going to leave the original structure in the car. This car will be stronger than the original. So let's get some measurements down, and we'll draw it out on a piece of good paper or something. Make our blueprint, and we'll see what needs to be done. Okay. So what I'm thinking is how much tire we need to put on this car. And I tell you, the front tires on these cars, the rear tires on these cars, there's not much room between the wheel tub and the outside fender. That's why they can only put like a little 6-inch wide tire underneath there. So we need to come in quite a bit. And I'm thinking if we come in, say if it's 6 now, that's 12. If we put a 12-inch tire, we need to come in 9 inches on each side of the wheel tub. That's just to put a 12-inch tire. If we wanted to put, say a 33/19.5, that's 20 inches of tire. We'd have to come in 24 inches, which would only leave us about 12 inches of frame rail on each side. It can be done. It can be done. And that was my original plan. But I don't think we need to go that far. I think if we come in, let's say 10 inches, that will give us 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, about 17 inches of tire that we can put underneath the car easily. 10 inches. We go 10 inches there. Make a mark 10 inches here. "24 inches of frame rail. I think that'll be good. All right, so here's the Pinto body. This is exactly the scale. Exactly the scale. So we're going to connect them to this piece of metal right here. So we're going to draw the floorboard, the original floorboard. We got these tubs bigger on the Pinto. Original floorboard slash body. I'm going to come across, go down, and go through the floorboard right here, and come over, then back up inside the car. Yeah. So let's get the first measurement. We know the width of the outside of the frame is 24 inches. That's the width. And 34 inches is the short point on the frame rail. So from 34 inches to the short point, i.e. maybe something that will attach to here also. Now we go to the front side and we'll inside the cab and check the measurements there. So we got roughly from there to here 34 inches, and then from 34 inches we're going to go down from short point to short point. And this is a rough measurement because it's got 1/4 inch of gooey stuff here. And I'm going to say 12 inches. 12 inches down. On a short point. Might be a little less, might be a little more. When I get into it, I'll make a decision. But that's roughly 12 inches. Short point to long point. 12 inches. So frame. Now we got to get this measurement. And so what we want to do, we want this thing to tie into the front frame rails, which is just sheet metal. So I need to figure out where it's at. We'll probably make it with it run out, and then we'll cut it to fit as we go. So long point to approximately 52 inches from the long point. I'm gonna put a question mark there, definitely. I know I can make the 12-inch work going down. Yeah. Yeah, that'll work. 52 inches. We may have to cut it to fit. We may have to make it longer. So we need to add all these measurements up, the 34, 52, and 12, and we'll Pinto. Oh, that looks exactly like the Pinto. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. All right, so remember, all this stuff is structural, so we want to leave as much of it as possible. But we also want to make sure we have enough to weld the suspension points inside the car. All right, so we're going to need this angle here. So I'm going to take a Sharpie, just mark it on the this piece of steel. This is not the steel we're using. I just need a reference. Okay, and that should give me my angle. All right, I put my square up here, and it tells me that this angle is a 25-degree angle. What I've learned in the past for making like compound trusses and stuff like that, angles and hip roofs and valleys and staircases, is measure twice, cut once. So I think we'll, on a piece of scrap paper or a piece of cardboard, we'll test it just to make sure we get it right, because I have when I added it all together, I needed 198 inches of metal, and I got 202 inches of metal. So it's not leaving me much room to play with. Plus, I'm going to make the back end a little shorter, which means the front end is going to be a little bit longer. I'm going to set it coming from behind that flat plate, or on top of that flat plate where the pan is, where the seat backs up. We're going to notch it and put it halfway in. So we're going to take a 1 inch out of our measurement, but half in and half out of that spot. And I'm doing that so that I'll have more side room to hook brackets onto. But I don't want to go too far in and get into the room where the pumpkin needs to be, the axle needs to be moving. That's right. We still won't need suspension room, We may be altering it as we go. Let's test this theory. So I got a piece of cardboard. I put my two 12.5-degree marks on here. Now if we were to do this, fold it in half, we should have that angle, I think. So what I need to do is make this measurement on this piece of paper all the way over to here, and we'll double check it. 32. Cut this line out. Or if we take it over to here. Yep, that's it. So now we can make that measurement on our piece of steel. All right, so the original measurement was 34. We're going to shorten it by 1 inch so the frame rail comes through that back wall. So what I call a short point is, and on this piece of, this is the long point because it's longer from here to here, and this is the short point because it's shorter. So we're doing, instead of 34, we're doing 33. 33 to the short point. That way this pulls this piece back 1 inch and it'll be coming through that about halfway through on the frame rail, on that back seat piece, which is all structural. So 33 inches to the short point. So this is not the pivot point, this is the short point. So this cut will go like this. So we're going to do right on that line. So we got 30, 31, 32, and slide it to our mark. All right, if we cut it wrong, then it's wrong. Alright, so I'm just going to tack it in place for now. Alright, that should hold it. Probably should do one on the other side too. So this is our piece going from the back of the car over and then down. This is where the seat rest is, 1 inch in now. So now we need to get our down tube exactly right. All right. So I went ahead and marked my other cut right here. The piece of paper said 12 inches. I didn't cut this. I went ahead and put the V on it for this. I got the same 32 degrees, which should give me that 12.5 or 12, I don't know, whatever it was, this angle here, which is the same as the one that's on the back seat of the car. So let's go ahead and cut this. All right, flip the metal around all the way around the other way. And I came over to the short point, come over 33 inches, I believe. Make sure I got it right before I cut it. Yep, 33. So we're going to make our pie cut here and fold it here. And we'll do the exact same thing we did on the other one. I already got the other side welded. I said, heck, I got the welder out before I flip it over. So I went ahead and welded that other side up, and she's straight. Best way when you're welding so you don't get the metal to do this is tack it a little bit, tack a little bit, tack a little bit, tack a little bit. That way you're not throwing all that heat on one spot. Let's get it cutting. I'm going to put you on fast motion for this. All right, haste mace waste. This had a bad dog leg and it was almost an inch taller. I recut this one here. The other one is perfect. I recut it and I got it jigged up with the other one, and now I'm just going to burn this one in and we'll take it over to the car. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh. Ah. Woo. Oh. Oh. All right, we got to get this thing back up in the air. I test fitted one of the rails, and it looks like our measurements are good. But before we start cutting, I think we should get that fuel tank out of there. Whew. There is some fluid in it. It's held up by the filler tube, and you cannot see the stuff. They sacrifice fuel tank for a spare tire. Okay, the wire's cut. One hose is cut. That should be it once I get that one out. Oh, I hope I don't get a bunch of fuel sloshing on me. Okay, and we're leaking fuel. There we go. All right, so the only thing holding it in right now is the filler tube. If I wiggle it that way, it should come out. That's the plan. Let me spray some looby dooby on that. Come on now. Come on, man. What if I just put a big old pry bar and let it fall? Might have to. One more couple shakings. What is holding it in there? Okay, it's off. Whew. See that? Here's where the filler tube went into the tank. And there was 12 inches of pipe sitting on there. No wonder that thing didn't come out. If I would have just slid it down further, it would have came out. Man. So I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna go cut the floor tonight. I don't even know what time it is. It gets dark so early now. Tomorrow's I gotta go to work. Then I'm off for a week. So there shouldn't be no excuses for me not to get this frame in there. Not only that, I want to get this car on a rotisserie. We're going to make a hand-built rotisserie. So that'll be on an episode all by itself, getting the car on a rotisserie. That way we can, I don't know, if once I get it in, and if it doesn't look like I need the rotisserie, then I'm not going to do it. I never used one before, but here you go. What do you say? I think it'd be cool, but well, it might be a waste of time. We'll see. If I need it, I'm going to get it. If I can make my wells up underneath here, then that's what I'll do, because I ain't in for spending any extra money, that's for sure. All right. I think we'll let this thing down and see what we've got on the inside. All right. Somewhere right in here. I don't know where my flashlight went to. Anyway, that's about where it's going to sit. But I got to get all that insulation stuff out of the way. Whew. Got a lot of work done today. But that's about where that frame rail is going to be. I don't think I'm going to hit any more tonight. Tomorrow is my last day at work. And then I have like a whole week off. And I'm going to get a lot of work done in those. If I didn't have to keep running back and forth to the camera, and it took me almost 2 hours to get that fuel tank out, I could have probably got just getting the car in here alone was a chore. I had to redo one of the frame rails. That was rough. So I'll see you on Thanksgiving. Remember, you need to be thankful for what the good Lord's given you. Lord, thank you. Lord, thank you for all the work I've accomplished today, because this old man is hurting. My back is killing me. So I'll see you in a few days. God bless you. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Hey, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It's late in the evening. It's dark outside. I just wanted to come out here and hit a little bit, do some measurements, and check some things out. And I'm going to show you how we got the frame rails just kind of mocked up in here for right now. And so what we got going is I put a little bit of spray paint on the edges. I got them set up exactly. They're gonna fall right down into this the frame rail from the front, in the front there. That's where that little drip hole is. And there's one on the other side. And I also grinded out some more wells and made these frame rails exactly right. And so they're gonna be welded across the top, notched into this backing plate right here, notched down into the seat bracket, through that floor member over here, and then come across on the top side, and then countersink. So it'll come across on this top side and then countersink down into the front frame rail of the front of the car over here. That is the game plan. I got these things squared up into the frame. So tomorrow, we're gonna cut down through here. We're gonna cut down through here, cut down through here on this side, cut that backing piece out, and this thing should slide down, cut this bottom out here. We wanna keep as much of the floor as possible, because the floor is the rigidity of the car going like this. It keeps the doors from buckling and opening and closing and popping and stuff. So when all this is welded in, the car is going to be stronger than it was before. And that's the whole idea. And you'll see that we'll have plenty of room now for some wide monster gumbo tires. That's what I'm talking about. So if you look at the edge of that fender and the edge of the frame rail, that's a big tire. So we can fit some really monster gumbo tires underneath this thing when we're done. Came out here before the turkey was done because I think I was getting in the way of my wife. And I don't want her getting in the way. I am stuffed. Man, I am stuffed. Anyways, I came out here and I took some measurements and decided I was going to fix these frame rails a little bit better. Now they're exactly perfect. And which is good. And I took some measurements and I ordered a 4 links with and get this, it came off a NASCAR. It's a repurposed came off a NASCAR. It's a used panhand bar. And I got the J type, and that way it'll go and hook in. That way you ain't got real long brackets, because real long brackets on a panhard bar means bending, and we want no bending. So I ordered the 4-link suspension, completely adjustable, so we can adjust the the lift, the squat, everything on the car. We'll go over the adjustments and when we're putting it in the car. Anyways, the frame rails is ready. Tomorrow we're gonna get the frame rails sat down into the chassis. Whew. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I gotta go inside and spend some time with the wife. It's the next day, and I'm glad I came out here last night and did the work on the rails. And I got them perfectly straight. They're both identical now. And lesson to learn is haste makes waste. I even said on the video that not to weld too fast. Just tack it, right? But anyways, we got the things in here. I took some spray paint and I marked out exactly where they need to go, where we can start making our cuts. These cars are actually pretty rigid. But I think what we'll go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and get the grinder and we'll grind this. Maybe take the Sawzall to this, grind through here. But now we got that squared away, we can move the frame rail out of the way. And you can see where I got it spray painted. So let's cut it. All right. This was a perfectly good car until I start making this cuts. We're getting there. Success. All right. So we're touching in the back. We're through the floor here. We are through the floor right there a little bit, but we're not touching underneath here yet. And we're touching here. And this is the frame rail for the front of the car. There's a hole here and it comes all the way back to here. So we're gonna cut this out to get this to sit down in there. We may have to notch this to get this laid down in the car even further. We'll see. So let's get with this. We'll mark this out with paint and get this piece in there. All right, we got it up down in there. That's exactly where I wanted it. Over top of the floor here, down into the floor here. It comes up underneath. I don't know if you can see that. Cuts through the floor there. All this is going to be really tight. A lot of this is coming out because this is where the wheel tub is going to be. We're going to get the other frame in there. Probably I'll put some tack wheels. I think I got to tap the back side down a little bit. But other than that, this is where that frame rail's at. And this is inside the pocket of that frame rail. So it's going to be real tight. The front of the car now, the front of the car will be tied into the back of the car through this frame. And it's going to be completely welded and sealed up. You can see that's tight. That's tight. We're going to get, that's going to be all welded up tight. This is rigid support area right here for the car. The torque box area where the spring is. All this is where the spring is in the car. So this is all heavy duty material. This is thick steel right through here. All this back here was thick. It's like twice as thick as the pan for the front pan and stuff like that. It's real thick. So all I gotta do is do the other side. All right, I got the other side in. It was fighting me back here. There was some more metal back in the thing because this side's got the big old hole in it for the spare tire. But that side, there's a bracket that was holding it up in the back from keeping this point right here from going down. So I got an 1 3/4 here, 1 3/4 here. I actually had to put a strap to hold this thing up because the center was flexing. So we're gonna tack it here, tack it here, tack it everywhere. It's a battle, but it looks good. Looks real good. Yeah, it's gonna be nice. So my first tacks are gonna be right here and right here, and probably we'll put a little L bracket right in here and right in here. This metal's kind of rusty, or it's some kind of stuff on it. But here's the support that I had to cut out underneath here, and it was a bubble coming up, and it was holding us. Oh, what is this thing? Not like it was holding it up like a 1/2 inch right here from getting everything square. So now the frame rails are perfect inside the car. Oh, I'm getting tired. Getting tired. Yeah. I'll probably hold that down a little bit. Probably tap it with my dead blow hammer. She's holding up somewhere right in here. Not bad though. She's good. All right, let me get some tacks on it. All right, got it tacked in there really good. Get some gusset plates put on there in the areas where she needs to be stout. And I'm probably going to spend all day tomorrow welding this thing up. So I'm not going to bore you with making little pieces of L pieces to go in there and tack weld it all in place. But the more we put metal into it and the suspension parts and all that stuff, the more it's going to tie into the body. Not only that, I still have to cut out these wheel tubs and fabricate some more wheel tubs. So I'm probably going to cut these off and just move them forward and attach them right to this. And then we'll fill in with sheet metal. Because I'm not putting real tall tires on it, but they're gonna be wide and stout. That's for sure. But it looks pretty good. It's kind of foggy in here. I think I'm ready for a shower. That's what I'm thinking. But probably tomorrow I'll come out here and I'll spend all day welding. I'll weld it all up tight tomorrow. Get the top side welded and then roll it onto the lift. Once I get it good. Right now I don't want to put it on the lift. It could twist. That's a lot of metal to cut out of the car. But once it's all tightened up and got the fabricated brackets in it and everything I need, it's actually going to be stronger than the original. So I got some little 1x1 long pieces of angle iron. I'm gonna cut those. I got bunches of flat stock that I used already. Just putting it there on the spots where the supports are underneath the car on both sides. All the critical locations. But anyways, I think that's it. We put a subframe in this car and got it's in this Pinto. So this video is how to put a subframe in a Pinto, I suppose. I guess that's how I should name it. But we got it in there, and it looks good. I'm tired. I didn't get much sleep last night. I don't know, maybe I ate too much yesterday. Anyways, I got to go in there and spend some time with my wife. She was kind of disappointed that I didn't spend the rest of the day with her. She was supposed to go do some stuff with another company today, and that fell through. So she was looking forward to spending some home time with me, and I had already made plans. I was going to come out here and put these things in. So, I mean, the whole video was me putting these things in the car, and we put those things in the car. Yeah. So see, there's no subframe connectors. The frame is connected to the front section. Yeah. All right. Hey, God bless each and every one of you. Remember, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. We can even tear up a Pinto and put a subframe in it. Trust me, it's going to be nice when it's done. It's going to have a really nice interior. I want my wife to be able to say, wow, because it was the same thing with the Mihal truck, right? She wasn't getting in that truck if it was looking, bad, ugly. She's only getting in it if it's sound. And here we are. We pulled that little 4-cylinder motor out of it, the 2300 cc's, and we're getting all the parts for that 302. We got the pistons all cleaned up. Still not sure if I'm going to use these heads, but I do got some really nice valve springs coming that allow me to go up to 525 lift. And I'm looking for a camshaft that's got at least a 300 duration. And people say, you don't need a 300. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something on camshafts. All right? I wasn't born yesterday, and I remember when roller camshafts were just coming out. And these steep camshafts is what ate up. Was like the 195 and the 205s and the 250s duration camshafts. Those are the camshafts that eat up flat tappets. When you want a high lift cam, you need a longer duration so it doesn't eat up the camshaft or eat up the lifters. Plus, a long duration camshaft sounds good. You lose some low end torque out of it, but you know something? We're going from a 4-cylinder to a V8. That's what I'm talking about. We still got to do some work to the motor mounts in here. I got to clean them up, and right now it's hard to get to the nut on the back side. We're going to pull those off. So I'll probably do another video tomorrow or the next day. We got our company meeting, company Christmas party, and I got to get some tables and chairs over there. Listen. Pinto is coming together. God bless you. I'll see you on the next Fixing Things with Pastor Bill. Great time of day. Man, that thing does frame rails look good. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, sirree.